What's going on, faithful? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Red and Gold Standard podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Matt Llewellyn. Matt, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Listen, guys, we're 9 days away from the opening of training camp, and I'm stoked. So let's get into it. Let's jump right in. This is the last week of slow time, and it's just going to build from here. So let's go.
That's right. That's right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. While you're here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, we are trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. We're super close. With all that said, I'm not in my suit, Matt. As you can see, I got my Fred Warner throwback.
It looks good. It looks good.
I love it. I had to rock it.
It looks good.
It'll be back, Melissa. Don't worry. We got a great show for you guys planned tonight. Sunday evening, right before the week kicks off. Yep. Everybody's probably got a hectic week just like us. So we're going to have some fun tonight. But before we do, there's a pretty serious topic that I feel like we need to address, Matt. And that is, of course, the unfortunate news of Richard Sherman that happened this past week. So as we all know, I'm sure everybody's read the reports and seen the unfortunate video, which we are not going to share. Richard Sherman was arrested due to, I believe it was attempted burglary, suspicion of burglary, domestic violence, and this was at his in-laws' house in Redmond, Washington, early on Wednesday. Basically, the 911 call was released, and it was kind of a whole slew of issues that hit the Sherman family, and it clearly they're going through something personal. We're not going to speculate on what that could be. What were your initial thoughts when the story broke? Because to me, I was completely taken back because that's not the Richard Sherman that we've grown to know.
Yeah, I think everybody jumped to conclusions in terms of what was actually happening. You know, a lot of people are like, "Oh, dude, he probably hit his woman or whatever." All that, crazy speculation. I think at the end of the day, it's coming out and it looks like he's been battling some mental health issues for a while now. And mental health is a serious thing. And to me, the most unfortunate part is not that, obviously that was going to get out at some point or another, but it's like when you listen to the 911 tape, the 911 operator was completely unhelpful. I mean, completely out of her mind. And then they released the video, I guess it's doorbell, ring video or whatever the company is with the camera about him trying to break into the house. It's really unfortunate. It paints a really bad picture. And to me, it's sad because, I know plenty of people, myself in a mild way, I deal with some anxiety, nothing to that level. But when people are dealing with mental health issues, especially when you add alcohol to the mix, it's just a recipe for a disaster, and no one was hurt. And it's not like, he did anything too over the top. We've seen a lot worse come out of these situations. I just really hope that the family and friends around him get him the help that he needs. And this goes beyond football. This goes beyond, trying to dunk on somebody. I know a lot of people are going after him. There's no place for that. We don't want that here either. I just really hope that Richard Sherman gets the help that he needs, because it's obvious that he's struggling with something. And we've all been in situations where we felt like we needed, someone to lend us a hand to pull us up out of whatever we were in. And so I really hope that going forward, his family and his friends can surround him and that he gets right. This goes beyond football. This goes to a man's life. And so, it's sad to see someone that was a leader on this team for so many years go through something like this. You just hope that the other end is something that can be turned into a positive.
Yeah. Well said. I really do think that the comment here sounds like it was just an awful night for Sherman. It'll probably haunt him forever. On the call, his wife said that there were multiple bottles of hard alcohol involved. And it was later released, which obviously it was a sealed case, so nobody would have known. But that a judge had actually ordered Sherman's firearms to be surrendered to the police due to his mental health cases that have been going on.
Yeah, it's been something that he's been dealing with and to himself, he's admittedly said, I've been dealing with it for months.
Yeah.
And we can speculate on what that is. It doesn't really matter what it is. The fact of the matter is, a human being is going through a difficult time. And, we unfortunately, in this instant gratification social media culture, we go through this where there's no privacy, there's no respect for anybody. It's just everybody paints everybody to be in the worst light possible. And quite frankly, it's disgusting to me. I feel really bad for Richard Sherman. As much as, like, did he make a mistake? Sure. He shouldn't try to break into his in-laws' house or anybody's house, right? Did he go a little overboard? Of course he did. But there's obviously a lot going on there. And I think that when this story initially broke, a lot of us in the chat were like, that's really not in his character. We need to find out what's going on. But then you go online and everybody already has an answer. Everybody already has a story. Everybody already has an assumption. And quite frankly, it's bullshit. And it's really disgusting that people do that. I really don't like that people do that. We need to, no one was hurt. Yes, it was an unfortunate situation, but first and foremost on everybody's mind is that Richard Sherman needs to get the mental and emotional support that he obviously needs. And he needs to get that help as quickly as possible. And who cares about football? And who cares about if he was a former Seahawk or like whatever? Like, who gives a shit about that? This is a man's life we're talking about here. And it's obvious that his wife loves him and wants to get him the help. He had friends that were flying out because of his mental situation, and they wanted to help him. The family wants to help him. And it's just unfortunate that what we get is the darkest part of the situation, because when you just have snippets of a video, you lose the humanity. You lose the overall context of the story of a man struggling, who has been struggling and had a breaking point. And we've all been there, whether it's family problems, whether it's he knows he's coming to the end of the football career and that's affecting him, whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter. No one was hurt. He had a bad situation. And I think that to pile on is to be disgusting. The best that we can do is try to help him and give him support in the limited way that us fans can. And in terms of that, let's not speculate. Let's not try to dig at the last little ounce of whatever we can just for a click, just so we can put something on Twitter that's going to get a bunch of likes. Because one day, some of us may be in that situation. And I would hope that if I had a support system that would pull me up and not a bunch of Twitter people trying to tear me down. That's all I could ask for.
Yeah. Again, well said. But I think that there has definitely been something going on in his personal life that's been affecting him pretty heavily. And the story started coming out that his own friends and family had been trying to fly out to Washington, where his family is located, since the beginning of this year, because they're aware of this. It seems like he at least tried to do his part and making his friends and family aware of what he had been dealing with, and they are trying to be there for him. And unfortunately, I got to see this. And yeah, Steve said, whoever leaked the Ring doorbell is a POS piece of shit. And that was kind of my first question when that came out too. How did this get here? This wasn't some sort of publicly available footage. This is somebody's, own Ring doorbell system footage. So I did think that was interesting how that got leaked. It almost looked like a recording of a recording.
And honestly, I don't know. I don't know how Ring does it, but maybe it was company side, maybe it wasn't. I don't know if the in-laws would release it. I would find it kind of a tough pill to swallow if it was them, and I don't want to speculate. However it got out was however it got out. But really, like, one of the biggest things I took away from it was whoever that 911 operator is a piece of shit.
Yeah. No, most definitely.
A completely awful person. When somebody is telling you, hey, my husband has a lot of, mental health problems right now, and he's threatened to kill himself. And this lady's like, don't interrupt me. It's like, no. You're there to be there for the person who's calling. This isn't about stroking your own ego or trying to take control. Oh, ma'am, I need the information. You'll get the information. You need to be patient. As somebody who works with people who are sick or injured or whatever, it's, I have a unique insight into the conversation isn't going to go exactly how you want it to go. And you need to learn how to ebb and flow through that and get the information you want without being off-putting like that. That doesn't engender trust. That doesn't, make the person want to talk to you or confide in you. All it does is put the person on, on defensive, where she's saying like, hey, she's trying to get an important message out. And, for whatever the political messages are or whatever, the fact of the matter is she said up front, hey, man, like if you send the cops out here, he's going to fight him. I want you to make sure that the cops know that so that something tragic doesn't happen. And that's such a valid thing. And then this lady was just blowing right through that. And, to me, she did them no favors. And so, in my opinion, this fucking lady needs to get fired. And excuse my language, but she's completely inept at her job and she should be gone.
Yeah, and look, I said I'm not going to play the call, but I do want to get to some of the script of what this operator was saying, just so you guys can get an idea if you haven't already heard the call. The 911, where you're reporting, Ashley Sherman, Richard Sherman's wife, I need officers to my house right now. My husband is blunt and belligerent. Stop. What's the address? Is there a weapon? To which Ashley Sherman replied, no, there's no gun. And the dispatcher yelled, listen to me. And Ashley said, I'm saying there are no weapons, ma'am. There are no weapons. And she said, you need to stop interrupting me so I can get the information I need. She said that he was being aggressive, threatening to kill himself, and that he sent text messages to people saying that he's going to kill himself. And to which the dispatcher ended it abruptly with, listen to me, I'm handling this. You need to stop telling me that, which was in response to her telling the 911 operator that you need to get police here right now and emergency services here right now because my husband is a threat to us and himself. And that was one thing I was glad to see everybody unite on, that this was completely unprofessional and just, unethical to have this job where you're supposed to perform in the highest of high stress environments and remain calm and remain professional. And she failed to do that 100%. So I agree with you, Matt. She either deserves a very, very long suspension, unpaid suspension, or to be fired outright, because that's just not how you deal with these situations.
And listen, and we've all had bad days and we've all had difficulty in the office and stuff like that. But when it comes to dealing with your clientele, with your customers, when you're a 911 operator, you're dealing with, a lot of emergency issues and people in distress. And like my job, if that was my job and I was like, hey, listen, you don't interrupt me. I'm going to tell you, I would get fired for that.
Yeah.
Like, listen, you're there for a very specific job. And I feel like this lady put herself right in the middle of something and let her ego get in the way of like, okay, yeah, somebody interrupted you. Guess what? It's a crisis situation. They're stressed out. They're trying to make sure that the information is conveyed. So if they interrupt you, don't take it, the thing that we always say, don't take anything personally. Whether somebody's sick or injured, or in the case of the 911 operator, you have somebody who's really worried about something, you don't take that personally. You sit there, you let them get what they need to get out, and you try to navigate the conversation in a very subtle way to get the information that you need. But you definitely do not put them on the defensive by being belligerent, by being over the top, by putting yourself in the middle of a conversation. Like it's complete bullshit.
Yeah, I totally agree. Richard Sherman, the following morning, did release a statement through his Twitter account, and I'm going to pull it up here, vowing to get the help that he knows he needs. So I'm going to read it. I am deeply remorseful for my actions on Tuesday night. I behaved in a manner I am not proud of. I have been dealing with some personal challenges over the last several months, but that is not an excuse for how I acted. The importance of mental and emotional health is extremely real, and I vow to get the help I need. I appreciate all the people who have reached out in support of me and my family, including our community here in Seattle. I am grateful to have such an amazing wife, family, and support system to lean on during this time. So hope Sherman gets the help he needs, because he's definitely going through it right now.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, and to the 49ers credit, I know John Lynch came out and said, hey, whatever we can do for your family, we're going to do. Your family here, we're going to take care of you. So class act from the organization. And I really just hope, beyond Richard Sherman, the football player, I hope that Richard Sherman, the human being, gets the help that he needs.
I totally agree, because it's scary, and it's scary for anybody to deal with. But then when you get your family involved, and look, any mental health situation is extremely serious, but somebody with that access to whatever, plethora of firearms he may or may not have, it gets extremely more dangerous. So with that, we're going to leave that topic at that and just say that we wish Richard Sherman and his family the best and hope he gets all the help he needs as soon as possible. Going to more 49ers, maybe a little more lighthearted. Bleacher Report had an interesting trade suggestion, Matt. They didn't actually get into the specifics, but I'm going to break it down. They actually predicting this was going to happen in the 2021 season, and that is that the 49ers trade quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo to the Washington football team. Is this something you could see happening regardless of what the logistics of it look like?
Not right now, basically because Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have any trade value. It's readily apparent that Jimmy's days are numbered here, whether it's this year or it's next year. The best that you can hope for is that Jimmy starts the season, plays well, and then they feel like they can put Lance in because Lance is progressing, and they move him around the trading deadline. But beyond that, I don't know that Washington's going to give up a ton for Jimmy Garoppolo when they have, as much as it's kind of crazy to say, Ryan Fitzpatrick there, because Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to offer them enough energy that they don't really have to overextend to get somebody like Jimmy Garoppolo. I know people are hung up on Jimmy's salary and all that stuff, but the team front-loaded his contract. So at any time, the 49ers can get out from under that contract, and it's not going to be a huge deal. So I think this speculation of a Jimmy trade is a little overblown because everyone knows that if Jimmy doesn't get traded, they're either going to try to cut him, or they're going to try to restructure him into something that could be maybe friendly for a backup deal. So in terms of value, I just don't see it with Jimmy right now. He needs to get out there and prove that he can stay healthy if he's going to have any value whatsoever. And even then, I don't know what you're looking like in return for him, like late round pick. So it might behoove them more to try to maybe restructure him and draw out that last year deal to maybe keep him as the best backup in football.
That's a good point. So here's the reasoning, I guess, from Bleacher Report. Head coach Kyle Shanahan said the clock should start with rookie quarterback Trey Lance sooner than later. If the Niners build around him while he's still on his cheap first contract, they can plug the holes and aggressively pursue other roster upgrades where needed. Garoppolo, who's missed 23 outings over the last 3 seasons, is on the books for $26.4 million this year. In 6 out of 7 NFL seasons between the New England Patriots and 49ers, he started as a backup or played fewer than 6 games because of his injuries. Given the questions about the 29-year-old's durability, the 49ers should look to move off his expensive contract and see what they have in Lance, the 3rd overall pick in this year's draft. Unless the 49ers get out to a commanding lead in the tough NFC West, general manager should call playoff caliber teams that may have interest in acquiring Garoppolo as a potential long-term starter. The Washington football team could replace Ryan Fitzpatrick, who turns 39 years old in November, with Garoppolo. They may not have a draft pick high enough to select a top prospect at the position in 2022. 49ers could dump a big contract, take a look at their potential quarterback of the future, and receive compensation in return for a player who isn't in their long-term plans. Meanwhile, the Washington football team would have a competent signal caller who can help them win a wide-open division and remain a starter beyond 2021. So, I get where they're coming from, but
I don't. Who wrote that?
Let me get I want to say it was Montez. I'll pull it up right now. Maurice Martin.
Okay. No disrespect to you, Maurice, but again, you're looking at it. This is strictly through the lens of the 49ers, right? This is best case scenario. What can the 49ers do? Everyone knows that Jimmy's going to be available. So what is the trade value? What are you realistically going to get? Because most people know they're probably not going to carry his contract into next year. So even if you're Washington and you're like, Ryan Fitzpatrick's not really getting it done, are we going to give up draft picks when you need a future franchise signal caller for Jimmy Garoppolo, who will be in his age 30 season? Or are you going to be willing to bet that the 49ers are going to cut him? You can swoop in, get him without giving up draft capital, and then draft the future anyway. Again, from the 49ers perspective, of course, they'd love to trade Jimmy if they could. They'd love to put all of their eggs in the Trey Lance basket and start him. But unless they can get out there and, play Jimmy and really kind of wait for other teams to have a bad quarterback situation, kind of get that desperation level up, no one's going to sit there and go, oh, it would be a great idea. Let's go give up capital for Jimmy Garoppolo, who we know the 49ers want to move off of anyway. So to me, this is just like, it's a fun exercise in kind of, hey, what would the 49ers like to do? But in all honesty, nobody's going to really give up anything of value for Jimmy Garoppolo, knowing that he's going to be on the market for free. Never pay for the cow when you get the milk for free.
All right. I love it. Yeah, I don't really see it happening. Like you said, the secret's out. The 49ers aren't tied to Jimmy after this year.
Right.
And, like the comment, if Jimmy starts again next year, there's an issue. I agree with that 100%. I think the plan has always been maybe Trey Lance this year, definitely Trey Lance next year. And if it's no Trey Lance this year, no Trey Lance next year, something's wrong. So hopefully they don't have to get to that. There's a comment here, though, here from Collie. You guys think Kyle hurt Jimmy's trade value even more by saying on the podcast he wanted Matt Stafford?
It's pretty hard to hurt trade value that's zero to begin with. He had none. He really had none.
Yeah.
The minute that they traded to number 3, all of Jimmy's trade value went out the window because everybody knew that they were going up for a quarterback.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I agree. It's no secret. I mean, they were tied to how many quarterbacks before that?
And Steve's comment. Listen, Steve, all respect. No, not that one. The next one.
This one.
Yep. I will disagree with this one simply because the next offseason, nobody's going to want to take on that contract when they're just going to stall the 49ers out until they cut him, and then they'll sign him to a cheaper contract. No one's going to take on that $27 million knowing that they, don't need to pay that. That's the thing. That contract with no guaranteed money, teams are just going to be like, cut him. We know you're not going to pay him, so cut him, and then we'll sign him for cheaper. We'll get him on a 4-year deal that's worth like, $40 million or whatever, or a 3-year deal worth 36 or whatever the case may be. So that 27, he's not going to see that next year, and no team's going to trade for that. It's an expiring contract after next season. So there's no guaranteed money behind it really anyway. I think it's 1.8 million dead cap next year. So they're going to be like, cut him. We're not going to give you anything for him. We know you don't want him. We know that Trey Lance is going to start. So It's just, there's no value there. The most value that he's going to get is if Washington gets off to a struggle, or maybe the New York Giants, Daniel Jones isn't getting it done, or somebody gets injured, right? And then Jimmy Garoppolo is floating out there before the trading deadline. That's the most value that he's going to have. If you wait till after the trading deadline, his value is just going to keep declining because that contract and the way that it's structured.
Yeah, I mean, I thought draft day was kind of where his trade value peaked. Or excuse me, draft day 1 of the NFL draft. That trade value peaked, and I think unless he plays at a really high level, he's just, unfortunately, that value is just going to continue to kind of go down.
And the other thing in terms of value is we've seen too much of Jimmy already. We know what he is. Even if you account for him to being healthy going forward, at 29 years old, how much is he going to change? He's exactly the quarterback that he's probably going to be for the rest of his career. And to me, that doesn't scream anybody that you want to, give a lot of capital to.
Yep. Interesting comment here. Nobody cares about Jimmy in 2021 anymore because of the standard of starting quarterback has gone up since 2017. The needle for being elite has gone up too. People don't even think Dak Prescott is elite.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. He's very limited. He's not mobile. He can throw between the numbers, and that's about it. And so if that's what you're looking for, cool, but you're not going to overpay for that. And in terms of Timo's comment, the team is the contract is already team friendly because they can cut him for no money. So the team that would potentially be a trade partner is going to be like, well, we don't want that contract. So we're going to wait you guys out because we know that you have Fred Warner to sign. We know you have these other guys that you need to give money to. And we know that you can get out of this contract. So we're going to wait. And if we have to get into a bidding war with other teams, we know it's not going to hit 27 million. So we're going to get them for cheaper no matter what.
Yep. Carly says Miami could be a destination for Jimmy as well. With Brian, I mean, there's the New England connection there, I guess, but
I don't know. I just don't see. If I'm being honest, I don't see Jimmy as like a full-time starter after this. I think he's like one of those guys that you bring in to spot start until you get the next guy.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most likely scenario. Coach Timo says, no, Matt, I'm talking about trade friendly reworks. They can get something for him. instead of team friendly.
There is no trade friendly contract. The contract they can get out of at any time. And so because there's no guaranteed money attached to the contract, the other team is going to be like, nope, we're just going to sit here until you cut him. We know you're going to cut him because you're not going to pay him $27 million and he's not guaranteed. So we know you want to cut him. So we're just going to wait. There's no trade friendly rework. The money that money that he has is not real money. That's the whole thing. It's not like he's got $27 million guaranteed and you want to stretch that out. There's almost nothing guaranteed. Again, dead cap 1.8 on a $27 million contract. So that's $25 million in savings that they can get. And so other teams are going to be like, well, we know you got people to sign. We're just going to wait for you to cut him because we know you're not starting him this year. Trey Lance is going to start, right? You drafted him third. You better get him out there on the field. Okay, well, if you're not going to use Jimmy, you know, again, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? Yeah. You're not going to go to another dairy if you can get if the cow, they're going to shoo the cow out of the barn. Just go get the cow when it's free.
Melissa says strap teams who have a solid team may need a guy because of injury. Nobody wants to be Washington football team and that's scrambling.
And that's why I think that a team that's maybe in contention or a quarterback that goes down again before the trade deadline, that's when Jimmy has the most value. But in terms of next offseason, he has zero value.
Yeah. I don't think they plan on carrying him past this season for the money, even though Jed likes to say, yes, we're comfortable. Why you may be comfortable, but it's not something you want to do. And if the guy is Trey Lance, you're already committed to him long-term. That's the plan of the future. Why would you continue to pay this guy tens of millions of dollars just basically as a security blanket? It doesn't make any sense.
And that's assuming that A, Jimmy starts the whole season and B, Jimmy stays healthy. Neither of which are something that's happened frequently throughout his career. So if you're betting the odds say that Jimmy has no trade value. He's not going to play long enough to disprove that. And he's going to be on the market for free.
Yep.
I wouldn't trade for him.
Coach Team, I think, again, if Jimmy has a good year, his value goes up. Teams will come calling. That's my take. I disagree.
His value doesn't go up. If you can cut his contract and other teams know that you can cut his contract and other teams know that you want to cut his contract, why would they give you anything? For exclusive rights to somebody who could be on the market anyway. Again, if the bidding war is not going to reach his current contract, then who gives a care about whether you get first crack at him or not? You just have to offer more money than the next guy.
Yeah.
He's not getting 27 on the open market.
No. And he only got that because the 49ers were, bamboozled into giving him that fatty contract.
I mean, he played really well. Yeah. For those 5 games. And so they felt like they had to give him the contract, especially when Kirk Cousins got that fully guaranteed deal in Minnesota. It was kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And not only that, but they had seen such poor play at the position.
Right. They were like, oh my God, this is so much better.
Yeah, this is somebody we can win with. And to be fair, they have. When he's been out there, they've found ways to win with him, but they weren't winning because of him, in my opinion. And I think that they're now looking for somebody to win because of instead of in spite of. Steve says no chance he'll be here next year. Got to pay Warner, Bosa, Debo, Barrett. Money needs to be spent elsewhere.
I don't know that you need to pay Barrett, but
I was gonna say up until then. Yeah.
I was with you until after those 3.
Yep.
Hey, you know what? It's okay not to be a betting man, but putting your stake in people and not trends or odds is why you shouldn't be a speculator. Because if what we're doing here is speculating, the odds say that Jimmy's not going to play the full season.
Yep. All right. Moving on from the Jimmy Garoppolo talk. Birthday boy. Happy birthday, Jimmy Ward. Recently went on to the Cone Zone with Grant Cohn, everybody's favorite 49ers reporter from SI. And he had some interesting things to say about Matt Stafford. And I'm going to pull up the text right here, basically saying – it's the same Matt Stafford that was in Detroit and couldn't win anything there. So Tommy Huxley, which, by the way, I recognize the name. He's always in our chat, so shout out to Tommy Huxley. Asked him what he thought about Matt Stafford, to which Ward replied, I like Stafford, but they still have the same players that he'll be throwing the ball to. He's the same quarterback who was on the Detroit Lions, and they still didn't go to the playoffs, and they had Megatron. What was the problem over there in Detroit? Are you going to blame the city? What was the problem? Was it the money? If the city didn't have enough money to bring players over there, why even have an NFL team? That's a big question mark. They went and traded Jared Goff, who went to the playoffs several times and went to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he lost. He went to the Super Bowl, though. I've yet to see that with Matt Stafford, and I'm saying he's still great. I believe he's a top 10 quarterback, maybe top 5. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just going off of what I see, and I see Jared Goff got these boys to the Super Bowl. What do you make of these comments, Matt?
Is it just me, or do I feel like Jimmy Ward's going to get fucking lit up?
I was just, yeah.
What? Why? We don't need to poke the bear like that, man. Yeah. Like, what's the problem in Detroit? The organization's run like horrendously bad.
Yep.
You know, that whole family has run it poorly. They've had poor coaches there. Coaches who have never gotten another chance in the NFL with what they've had, you know, like primarily defensive coaches, to be honest. I mean, and to say, yeah, I think this dude's top 5 maybe, and say, but he's still not going to. Why, dude? Why?
You know what this quote reminded me of? It reminded me of this. And I don't even know if this is a real graphic, but I see this, and every time I crack up, it's of this. Quote from Man Stabbed. What are you going to do? Stab me? Like, this is exactly what this reminds me of. Because it's like you're asking for it. And you play this man now twice a year. And look, say what you want about what he did in Detroit. His talents speak for themselves. And now that he's with a competent head coach, a competent, offensive.
Someone that people think is like an offensive guru.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we all saw what Jared Goff did under Jeff Fisher, which, like, everybody after the first year was like, Jared Goff is trash. And then Sean McVay gets there, and Sean McVay takes him to the Super Bowl. And you have Matt Stafford, who is supremely talented, but has to deal with coaches like Jim Caldwell and Schwartz and Matt Patricia. And you're saying, like, oh, he had Megatron, but they never got anywhere. Okay, he had a good wide receiver. He's got good wide receivers in Los Angeles. Oh, by the way, they also have a pretty decent defense.
Yep.
Right? Like, they've got pretty decent offensive line. And they've got a really good offensive-minded head coach that will allow Matthew Stafford to kind of unlock himself a little bit. And you're going to talk shit before the season? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I know you stayed healthy the last couple of years and you're feeling yourself, but dude, there's no need. Just give them the machine speak. I know you've been media trained, dude. Just go out there and give the milquetoast answer. Like, Matt Stafford's going to make them a really good team. They're tough anyway. It's always tough in the division. You know, we're going to go out there and we're going to see on Sunday. We're going to do our best to blah, 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 blah. You know how it goes. But instead he goes, yeah, he might be a top 5 quarterback, but he didn't do shit in Detroit. It's like, you're just asking for him to look you off and burn you for a touchdown. So we're going to see what's going to happen. Yep. But if it's me, like, there's a fine line between being confident and just saying shit to say it. And I think this was a little out of pocket.
Yeah, I also vividly remember, I'm pretty sure it was Jimmy Ward that gave up 3 touchdowns to Brandon Marshall when Levi's had the first game ever. And Jimmy Ward, it's just like, dude, you've been burned before and you can definitely be burned again. And this is Matt Stafford, like we've said, an extremely talented quarterback, somebody who, when the 49ers fans thought were likely to acquire, we're all hyping up. We were all talking about how good he is, how much better than Jimmy he is. So I do think he also needs to keep in mind this is the same franchise that ruined Barry Sanders, ruined, Megatron, who he mentioned there, but didn't really say the full story.
And Fernando's sitting here saying he's the same quarterback since he was in Detroit. Hey, Fernando, if you take your Ferrari to a shitty mechanic, the Ferrari's not going to run right. If you take the Ferrari to a good mechanic, it's going to run a lot better. And so we're talking about an organization to Detroit who's been laughable throughout essentially its entire history. And now you're going to a franchise that has won Super Bowls. So there's going to be a difference there. And anybody who thinks that Matt Stafford won't play better for the Rams than Jared Goff did, let's see what Jared Goff does in Detroit. Let's see how the switching of the position. This is one of the few 1-to-1 situations that we can actually dive into and see who does better. Because I'm willing to bet that Matthew Stafford does a lot better with the talent that Jared Goff has than Jared Goff does with the talent that Matthew Stafford had.
Yep. Yeah, that's a really good point. We never get to
don't sleep on Matthew Stafford, dude. He will tear us a new one.
Yep. Pinor says Matt Stafford will piss a lot of 49ers fans off this year, especially if Jimmy is for our team. Just be patient. Watch us get challenged, especially since we have the Rams number the last 4 times.
They're going to play us a lot tougher than they did the last few times, for sure.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that Jimmy Ward came out and blatantly said what he said. Respect him for being straight up with how he really felt and not giving the, like you said, media trained answers. Let's hope it doesn't come back to bite him, because it most definitely
is that respect though. Do I really respect that?
He answered how he felt,
I guess, but there's also something to be said for a little bit of humility too. I just don't want that. We all know about sports and bulletin board material, and we're doling that shit out before training camp even hits. So I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. A team that the 49ers will see twice times a year. So,
and maybe 3 if we get, a few teams out of the West in the playoffs, they could see them 3 times this year. And so you don't want to put that up on a bulletin board, for that offense, because it's not just Matthew Stafford. It's Cooper Kupp. It's Robert Woods. It's, this guy and that guy, and who, Aaron Donald on the defense or whatever. We've had their number. They're already going to be pissed off that people are like, hey, Shanahan has McVay's number. They beat him 4 straight times, even with crappy quarterbacks. That's already on the bulletin board. And then now you're just adding to it. When your own coach is like, damn, dude, I'm so upset that you guys got Matthew Stafford because he's so underrated. When Aaron Rodgers comes out and says, yeah, Patrick Mahomes, that's cool that he's doing that stuff. But you know who's been doing that stuff? Matthew Stafford. And nobody sees it because he's in Detroit, because it's a garbage trash can organization. And nobody can recognize the talent that Matthew Stafford has. I do. Maybe you guys don't. But at the end of the day, I think it's not the best idea in the world to give a team motivation to try to come out and play us, especially when most of the people are writing us off and we can come under the radar and really take advantage of some teams. I think that you try to keep every advantage that you can in sports, especially the NFL, where it's, 17 games this year, but it's still much less than everybody else. I mean, we don't even know what's going to happen. We got a new defensive coordinator. Is Jimmy going to stay healthy? Is Trey Lance the guy? There's enough question marks on this team that I don't think anybody should be flossing like that on somebody else's team. Get your own house in order before you go after your neighbor's house. So.
Yeah. Well said. Pinoy says, I'm actually okay with him talking the way he did. Do you guys think DC Rise will develop a 3 safety look with Tart, Jefferson, and Ward in certain packages, or will it remain the same?
It's going to be different. I think it's going to be more press man coverage. So there's potential for 3 safeties, including like a box safety. Maybe if Tart is, the box safety or whatever. Tart really I need to see a lot out of Tart because he had that lingering foot injury. So I don't know how he is right now. I'd like to see him play a little bit. Otherwise, it's going to be Ward and Jefferson in the defensive backfield, with Hufanga kind of being the rotation guy. There's potential there, but we don't know. And that's why I'm saying we have enough question marks on this team that we don't need to give other teams motivation to beat us.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see what Jefferson can bring, veteran presence. It might not be much, but I'm just hoping it's something the 49ers could use. Hunk Fat, people really think Stafford is as trash as the Lions organization, not me. Yep, that's a good point. Separate
Dude,
the player
Stafford is good. When you look at his overall numbers for a team like Detroit, his numbers are better than you'd expect.
Yeah, and it seemed like he was always injured.
He's been injured recently, but before that, it's like he can't get 1,000-yard rusher. He's only has 1 receiver, like no defense. So in terms of like his quarterback rating and his statistics and things like that, he's a pretty good statistical quarterback. It's Detroit, man. Yeah. And sometimes the stink of an organization can wear on really good players. There's a reason why Detroit was the first 0-16 team in NFL history. There's a reason why Detroit can't make it past the first round of the playoffs in their pretty much in their entire history, you know?
Yep.
So,
yep. All right. Moving on. Yeah, hit that like button if you guys haven't already. We appreciate everybody who does. Helps with the algorithm. Matt, there was a very interesting parlay placed in the world of sports betting, and I want to get your take on this. So this is from BR Betting, three leg parlay, bet 500 on the Pete Alonso MLB Home Run Derby 2021 winner, 3,500 on Colin Morikawa 2021 Open Championship, 1,300 on San Francisco 49ers. Or excuse me, no, $20 is the payouts. San Francisco 49ers winning the Super Bowl. So this is a 3-leg parlay, and they bet $20. If they win $60,480. Which of these happens in your mind more likely than the other two? Well, he's got two.
Well, the first two happened.
Yeah. Sorry.
Colin Morikawa winning the U.S. Open Championship was the biggest underdog. So he's 2/3 of the way there. You know, we'll see what happens. It's possible if the 49ers stay healthy, they're definitely a Super Bowl contender, in my opinion. It's interesting though that this is like the parlay that they came up with. Right. I don't really bet because I don't like giving away stuff for free, but these are interesting how people put things together. And you know, whoever bet this, man, if they get it on $20, if they win $60,000, like more power to you, dude, because I couldn't have put that together. So and this is Lewis Beck on Instagram, Lewis Beck 2. We're gonna have to follow up come February if that happens, because that's one hell of a prediction you had there, placed on July 12th. Hopefully the 49ers can pull through for him. I'm like you, Matt. Not only do I not like giving away my money, but it seems like every single bet I've ever placed, the exact opposite has happened. Even when I try to do some reverse psychology and bet against what I want to happen, then that happens. So I never win. So I just don't bet. Even when it's not my team. I felt like that too. Sometimes when I watch like baseball games or whatever, and the team's doing bad, I'm like, oh, should I turn it off? Like, am I like jinxing them by watching or what? At the end of the day, I'm like, nothing I do affects it anyway. So I'm just going to do what I do. And they're either going to do well or they're not going to do well. So
Coach Timo, I'm no betting man myself or either, except for myself. Learn that in the corpse, hanging out in trees sometimes without a spotter. Yeah. Bet on yourself. Always bet on yourself. That's a good point.
Yep.
All right, so happy birthday, Jimmy Ward. We already covered that, and we had an interesting discussion the last show with our guy Mike Andrews in the comments. He regarded Jimmy Ward as the best player on the team. We went into that. Yeah, we were saying maybe best, most versatile. But none of us agree that he was the best overall player.
No, but he put up an interesting thing on Twitter where he put up who's your top 5 49ers, and Jimmy Ward, I think, was like my 6th or 7th guy, but he wasn't in my top 5. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people had him high up there. I think my top 5 was Bosa, Trent Williams, Fred Warner, George Kittle, Alex Mack, because I think that Alex Mack, in terms of everything that he's going to bring to this team and at his position, he's an elite leader and talent at his position. But Ward would have been like right there after the fact. He would have been there with, you know, the Brandon Ayuk's and, you know, the Jason Verrett's, those type of people. So, yeah. So Mike had Jimmy Ward, Trent Williams, Fred Warner, Jason Verrett, and George Kittle, all big names on the 49ers. Hard to disagree with them. Aside from Jimmy Ward, a lot of people didn't have him, but a good amount had him at least, you know, on the lower end of the top 5. I'm shocked that Mike has George Kittle on his list because Mike is a notorious George Kittle doubter. He's not big on George Kittle. No, definitely or not. Kyle Juszczyk for that matter. No. But, a lot of people had some interesting top 5s. I tweeted out as well just to get some people's responses. I saw some Jimmy, saw some Mostert, Ayuk's. It's interesting. It's interesting how people evaluate the players. Everybody sees things a little differently. A little bit. Yeah. But just wanted to say that since it is Jimmy Ward's birthday. Happy birthday, Jimmy. Yeah, guys, type your top 5 in the chat. Curious to see what you guys are.
Coach Timo, Matt is in healthcare. So is my ex-wife. What do you do like in HCA? But this past year has been interesting. Thanks for what you do for people. Much respect.
I am a med-surg nurse. So I have my bachelor's in nursing. And so I work on a med-surg floor. So it's like a lot of people who come in with, people who have just had surgery, people who have like congestive heart failure, people who, one of the big ones we get is people who are alcohol withdrawal. That's a big one we get. It's a little bit of everything. It's like a jack of all trades floor. It's where you're going to learn like the most of your nursing skills through that. So it's pretty cool. I'm going to, my eventuality, I want to get my doctorate in nursing. I like to be an advanced practice nurse, probably something to do with trauma. So it takes me back to my Army days. But yeah, it's nice. It's good to help people. It feels good to, have people who aren't at their best and, to make a difference in their day, no matter how little it is. You can always help people out. So it's fulfilling for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Kali says Trent Williams is the best player on the roster, in my opinion. We both agreed because we completely forgot about him when we discussed this last week.
I think that Nick Bosa has more. It's hard. I'm weighing potential versus like actuality. I think that Nick Bosa to me is the most talented player on the roster because, and again, I had heard reports during Nick Bosa's rookie season that he was taking Trent Williams to school a little bit and that they had back and forth. And when you have a rookie that can hang in there with Trent Williams, who's one of, if not the best left tackle in the NFL, that dude's supremely talented that can do that in his rookie year. And so you think that year 3, Nick Bosa, even with the ACL, you think that, Nick Bosa, who's such a technician, is going to come in and just, kick ass this season. I expect huge things out of Nick Bosa this season. We saw it. Just go back and watch the Carolina game and tell me that dude is not, at any given time, is not the most talented player on the field. I challenge you to do that. Watching that game and being
tough.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's tough, man. The stuff he puts on tape is just, it's ridiculous. And coming back from injury, hopefully there's that added motivation to just ball out this year. And he's got, Kinlaw now. They added some depth players on the defensive line. I'm excited to see where he goes this year, now that he has a full second year. But we're going to get into wrapping up the show. One of the things I saw that I thought was a little interesting, not much to discuss, but Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel were having some fun the other night with none other than Lil Wayne. So this is for Amber Billops off Instagram. And here you see Trent Williams and Deebo just right next to Lil Wayne in the club having a ball.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne, 49er
and,
fan
and you know what? Good for them. And this is, in terms of, I'm all for people going out and having fun and living their life and doing all this stuff. What I like about this is that you have people who, as much as it sucks to say, are not normal people. They're professional athletes. And the way that they are here is that they're separated from the general populace. And what you're doing is you're just minimizing risk that someone's going to try to take advantage of them. Or, we all know that guy, right? Who's just like, oh, I could take him. Oh, I could take him. No problem. I could take him.
Yeah.
So I just think that, it's good. I think that they're separated. They're having some fun. They're there together. It's kind of like a battle buddy situation where it's like, hey, I got your back. You got mine. I'm not going to let you get too loose. They're having a good time. Nothing's going on here. I think it's cool, man.
Yeah.
And I like Lil Wayne, so.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool. Kyle Shanahan loves Lil Wayne. Just real quick, when
this kid Carter after Lil Wayne.
Exactly. When you talk about fans kind of getting that just liquid courage when they're seeing these players up in person, did you happen to see, it's completely unrelated, but did you happen to see about 2 weeks ago, there was that UFC fighter at a bar and some guy decided to challenge him right in the bar?
No.
Oh my God. Okay.
No,
so
the UFC fighter scrub him up.
Yeah, completely. The guy's wearing a shirt that says Ring Octagon Parking Lot, anywhere, any place, anytime. And he couldn't have been more polite. He's walking. For some reason, somebody's filming this guy dancing right in the walkway. He bumps into the UFC fighter. The UFC fighter kindly puts his hand on his shoulder, kind of moves him aside and says, hey, no problem. And then apparently you can't really hear it, but the UFC fighter later said like he turned around and started, talking shit to me. So I turned around and I said, "What's up?" And he put his fist up to me. And the footage is just hilarious because he drops him in like 2 punches. The guy goes down, but it's like people don't understand what these people are really like. These are complete athletes.
They're savage killers, bro.
Yeah.
That's like who was the Oklahoma wide receiver got into this like bathroom bar fight with like an MMA guy, and the MMA dude just like took him down and beat the shit out of him. Like, I will tell anybody out there, because I'm not young, I don't go looking for this stuff anymore. But if you're out there and you're a young dude and you're out there and you think you're gonna fluff your peacock feathers out there and you're gonna be Billy Badass or whatever it is in the bar, just be careful, because you never know who you're stepping up to. And there's a lot of these dudes that look nondescript that you would never think, hey man, like this guy probably knows the stuff, that is going to take you down and twist you into a pretzel before you can even count to 3. So you have to weigh in your mind, man, do I want to have a good time or do I want to potentially get my ass kicked because I feel like I'm Billy Badass tonight? Don't be Billy Badass. Just be. No one's mad at the dude that's like happy for everybody and wants to have a good time. So be the guy that wants to have a good time.
Yep. So it was Joe Schilling. I don't know if the name rings a bell.
Someone stepped up to Joe Schilling.
Yeah. That's
silly. Yeah. That is super silly. Joe Schilling is like a world-renowned kickboxer.
Yeah. So he later came out on Instagram and sarcastically was saying basically, I was scared for my life. There's nothing else I could do. It's insane. I mean,
Joe Schilling is a beast.
Yeah, I'm not going to play the video, but this guy basically, Joe Schilling later came out saying that he was kind of making the whole establishment uncomfortable. He was rapping and saying a lot of expletives and racial slurs.
Probably saying the bad words.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
We know what bad words. We don't need to say them, but
exactly. And he said that he kept making eye contact with. Yeah.
And it's not like Joe Schilling looks like a tub of crap, dude. Joe Schilling is in good shape and looks like somebody. Oh yeah, I could see that dude fighting. Yeah. Like, when they say drink responsibly, guys.
Yeah, Mariah. Yeah, it's because everybody jumped on him for doing that. So he released a statement that he was scared for his life. Yeah.
You know what? There's only so much that you need to deal with before you're like, all right, enough of this, because I can tell you from experience in my limited training that like super good. Like I'm nothing special. I did military training and I, got into jiu-jitsu a little bit because it was military and like we were all into it. I've fallen off. I'm not good or whatever, but I can tell you that the guys that are really good, they're some of the most patient people you'll ever meet in your life because they know they can twist you into a pretzel at any time. So when you get to that point where that dude's like, all right, fuck it, we got to go. Like enough is enough. I got to do this, There's a famous street fight with Roger Huerta and a guy that was like twice as big as him. And Roger Huerta just tuned him up in the street. Sometimes they're going to have to handle business. And you don't jump on people who are, that's a last resort for them. There's a video of Matt Serra, who's like a renowned Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter, who was in a bar and he was essentially like sitting on top of a dude in full mount, controlling his wrists, essentially just manipulating him and just holding him there because the guy was drunk and out of control. Like, stay within yourself. If you don't start shit, then there's nothing for you to get beat up on. Like, I've never been a person who started a bar fight. So guess what? I've never been in a bar fight.
I'm
always the guy that's like, hey, let's party.
Yeah, just to add on to this, I think, man, and maybe this is more my generation thing. People, that are in their early 20s, maybe 18, because I know all of my friend group, people severely overestimate their ability to defend themselves.
Oh, no, that's not just your generation. That's dudes in general.
Okay, I'm glad
we're all any dude from like 18 to like 28. All dudes are knuckleheads.
They all think they could basically get in the ring with anybody and go, full 9 rounds. Like, that's not how it works.
I'm in my 30s and I'm still half knucklehead. So, yeah, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Pinor, this comment here, UFC fighters and cartel members are people that gave me my politeness. Yeah, there's that saying, people that grow up in the hood have the most manners because they know what happens when you're not.
Yeah,
you don't have good manners. Yeah,
you never know. It's one of those. You never know who you're talking to.
Yep. Okay. Hella random thoughts on the Sopranos prequel movie. James Gandolfini plays his son plays his dad role.
I'm very interested in it. I saw the previews. It looks really good.
Yeah, I think it's like the Sons of Newark or something like that. The Saints of Newark.
I can't remember what it's called, but like it looks pretty good. And I think it's really cool that they got his son to play Tony Soprano.
Any Sons of Newark, that's what it is. And John Bernthal, Ray Liotta, Vera Farmiga, Billy Magnuson, Joey Diaz.
You got a quality mob flick when Ray Liotta's in it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Ray Liotta knows how to make a mob flick, man.
I have one season left of The Sopranos. This is the first time I've ever seen it. I never had HBO up until now.
It's so sick, isn't it?
It's sick, but like we've just gotten to where Carmela and Tony split up, and Ash is like really sad. She doesn't want to continue it. So I'm like, I got to kind of push her to just finish it.
You need to.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched The Wire yet?
No, that's
make that one next, dude. The Wire is savage as fuck.
Yeah,
dude.
That's another show. Succession. I don't know if you want Succession.
Outside of Breaking Bad, I think The Wire is probably the best television show I've ever watched.
Yeah,
it's
check it out.
Good TV, man.
I've heard great things about it.
That's got a young Idris Elba in it. It's got like a ton of actors that you would recognize that like, and it's just so raw and gritty. It's such a good show. And then of course, like, my favorite thing ever on HBO is Band of Brothers.
It's so good.
Band of Brothers is amazing.
So good.
I don't consider that a TV show. I consider it more of like a mini series type of deal. But like Band of Brothers is right up there with some of the best entertainment I've ever watched too. So HBO's had some really cool shows for sure. Yep.
Major warnings for the final season of Sopranos, some very controversial stuff. All right, I'm not going to get into it. I haven't seen it. No spoilers, anybody. But yeah, I agree with that. There's some funky shit. I know how it ends just because my whole life I've heard of that infamous final scene, but I'm not going to spoil what happens between now and then.
Well, here's the thing. Even if you know what the end is, it's so ambiguous you don't even know what it is anyway.
True.
Like, it's so left up to interpretation. But getting to that point is what she's talking about. And there is some for back in the day, it was controversial. So I can't even imagine what it would be now.
Yeah. Do you watch Succession on HBO?
I don't. And by the way, I'm sorry. Pinor? Is that
Pinor. I've been saying Pinor.
I've never watched Entourage. I just didn't. It looked a little smarmy for me, and I don't know. Maybe I'll get into it if it's really good. But Entourage was never a thing for me.
Ash tells me it's good. I've never seen it myself. You should watch Succession though. There's 2 seasons on HBO right now. Third one coming out in the fall. It's good.
I'm gonna start a show that I've heard great things about. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called The Expanse. Because I'm into sci-fi.
Okay.
It's like the space show. And it's supposed to be rooted really in reality. So I've heard The Expanse is fantastic. And then me and my wife are going to start a show also on Amazon Prime. We've started it. We've watched the first episode. It's really good. And it's about what would happen if Germany won World War II. It's called The Man in the High Castle.
I've seen a bit of it.
So we're really into those right now. Yeah. We're kind of over the WandaVisions and the Lokis and all that stuff. We want something with a little more grit and a little more thought put into it. So we're kind of drifting towards those shows at the moment.
Yeah. Melissa, I don't spoil. I just warn, like I try to warn my bro about the graphic stuff at the end of Outlander season 1 because of triggers. Thank you for the heads up. I appreciate it. Yeah. All right, we're going to wrap things up. But before we do, we played a game of yes or no in the last show, and it seemed to be a big hit. So we're going to play it again. Matt, my first yes or no for you. So again, just to remind you guys of the premise of the game, Matt has to guess what I am going to say, and I have to guess what Matt is going to say. So the first question, Matt, let me pull it up real quick. As it stands, Trey Lance is currently the favorite in your mind, regardless of what all these other sites and odds say, the favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Oh, wrong one. Yeah. So we both say no.
I don't think that he is going to. Is that right for you?
Yeah. I don't think so either.
I don't think that he's going to get enough playing time. I think that somebody like Trevor Lawrence or somebody like Zach Wilson those two are starting day one. So if Lance doesn't come in until like week 4, he could play well, but I fully expect Trevor Lawrence to be pretty good in Jacksonville. And I think that he, more than anybody, is a front runner to win Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year right now.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also going
or maybe somebody like Jamar Chase with like the Bengals. Like
Justin
if he just
Fields
blows up, or maybe Justin Fields with the Bears, but like there's always that chance that like the wide receiver, like Justin Jefferson came out of nowhere last year.
Yeah.
And really made an impact. And it's good as, and you have like people that you're not expecting, like a Justin Herbert or whatever, but like there's a chance. I think quarterback has the upper hand because of the position, but I do think that it's not going to be Lance. I think it's going to be, if I had to place money on it, I think that Trevor Lawrence is probably the bet for Rookie of the Year.
Okay. I love it. Unfortunately, I just don't think Trey Lance, even if he does start, it won't be enough. And there won't be enough out there just to compete with the guys who are, like you said, day one starters, going to have film and stuff to grade them on from day one. All right, next question. The 49ers would have a similar level of success had they had hired Josh McDaniels instead of Kyle Shanahan. Okay. Your reasoning? Yes, you're right, by the way. Am I right?
Josh McDaniels sucks. He's a product of Bill Belichick, just like Adam Gase was a prospect of like that 55 touchdown season from Peyton Manning.
Yep.
There's a reason why McDaniels backed out of the Indy deal, and I think McDaniels know that he's more of a coordinator than a head coach. His place in Denver was a disaster when he was there. He passed up on people to draft Tim Tebow, overdrafted Tim Tebow in the first round, and just generally rubbed people the wrong way. And so that works when you have a stable hand like Bill Belichick, but I think when you're on your own, it doesn't really work. And I think that we're going to see this year is going to be a real tell if he's going to be able to do anything without Tom Brady for a second straight year. If they can incorporate Mac Jones or improve upon what Cam Newton did last year, then you look at Josh McDaniels and be like, okay, maybe there's something here. But until that point, the Tom Brady factor is just too large for me to kind of overlook.
Yeah, real quick. Thank you, Joey. We appreciate you. Love your support.
Joey.
Definitely love to work with you.
Absolutely.
And for me, Josh McDaniels would definitely not have the similar level of success. Just look at his track record. Everywhere, just like you said, Matt, outside of Tom Brady, it's not there. He had a horrific tenure with Denver. I would not be thrilled had that have happened. And it's almost what did happen. And we found out it was even more likely that the 49ers didn't get Kyle Shanahan because I think he said it was like a scheduling conflict or something that he almost didn't even interview with the Niners back when they were trying to hire him.
He said that at that point the 49ers weren't on his top list of teams because of like how much they needed to do. And that he was tired after like so many interviews that he almost like blew them off.
That's what it was.
He decided to meet them, and then they had such a good conversation that he felt like that was the thing. And he said even his wife was surprised. So, we got a little Seattle guy in here. Hey, how's it going, fella?
Hey, thanks for tuning in.
I hope you have a good time looking up at us in the standings this season.
Have a great season as well. Appreciate it.
Same to you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I got a question for you.
Okay. Yeah, shoot.
Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk will each play 14 or more games this season for the 49ers.
3, 2, 1. Oh, okay. Okay. So you think I think yes?
Yes.
I think.
Am I
no.
right?
I think no. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so yes. We're both wrong.
We're both wrong.
Why do you think they will? Just matter of time. They can't always be out.
Luck of the draw, law of averages. I think that I've seen enough. Ayuk, after that first little bit where he missed with that foot injury, stayed healthy for the season. So I'm not worried about him so much. I think he's going to come back and play, and I think that he's going to take a step forward and be wide receiver 1. What I've seen out of Deebo this offseason is a lot of work. He didn't have the thing where last offseason he was working, but remember before training camp, he had the broken foot where he went out there and fucked around in cleats that he wasn't supposed to be wearing and broke his foot and missed 8 weeks because of that. He didn't have that this year. So he's been working out. I expect his conditioning to be better coming into the season. So I just think that, honestly, I think that they both are going to stay healthy this year, along with George Kittle. I think Kittle will play at least 14 games. And so I think the 49ers, I'm very optimistic on the season. I think this is a 12 or 13 win team. as it stands. And if they really hit their stride, they could win the division and be a top seed in the NFC. I'm super high on this team. I'm normally not super optimistic, but for whatever reason, I don't know. The mood is striking me, and I just feel really good about what's going to happen with the team. So,
all right, I love it.
Why don't you think?
I'm not too concerned about Brandon Ayuk. I think he will likely play 14 or more. It's Deebo Samuel, and I just think his track record. It's just a couple of things that always just seem to keep him out. Hamstring, foot, like you said. Hopefully you're right and I'm wrong. I just think the track record the 49ers have had and their luck with injuries, I don't know.
I think your track record says that they'll both hit 14 games.
Hey, that's why I don't bet. So let's hope. let's hope you're right.
We've talked about it.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. I have another one for you.
Okay.
Trey Sermon ends up with more carries in the season than Raheem Mostert.
Okay, you are crazy because that was literally the question I had. So,
okay,
3, 2, 1. Okay, I put no. You put yes. Are either of us? Am I right that you think no?
No, I think Trey Sermon's going to get more carries.
Okay, you're wrong that I think yes. So again, we're both wrong.
Again, we're off. We're off.
Why do you think he's going to get more carries?
I'm just low on Mostert after he pulled that highway robbery act last year where he held the team up for money. And I just think that he's very specialized in what he does. But when I'm looking at when you're 2nd and 2 on the 2-yard line or whatever, you're in the red zone, and I look at who you have on that roster, I think that Trey Sermon fits the bill in short yardage situation much more than Raheem Mostert does. And so I think that it's going to be close, but I do think that because of the short yardage situation, Sermon is going to end up getting more carries than Raheem Mostert. He might not end up with more yards, but I do think that he's going to be competitive, if not eclipse Raheem Mostert in terms of carries.
Okay. I like it. I just think my question actually was next year, will Sermon, take over for Mostert? So it was a little different, but I think that this year they're still just going to rock with Mostert. And the caveat obviously is unless there's an unforeseen injury and Sermon has to step in as a number one role. I just think they like Mostert that much that they're going to continue to roll with him. And his speed just brings that different element to this offense. And if we see guys like Ayuk and Samuel and Kittle all remain healthy, that trio plus Mostert in the backfield, it's pretty damn hard to stop. So
absolutely. I don't disagree with you. In terms of your second question, I am of the opinion that this is Mostert's last year with the 49ers.
Regardless. Okay. Yeah.
Regardless.
I could see it.
I really, if it was me and I'm looking into what kind of person I think that Jed York is, that I think that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are, I don't think they appreciated what Raheem Mostert did last year. And they recognize the talent, but they also recognize, hey, man, we drafted a dude in the 3rd round. And if he works out the way we think, then we're just going to let this other dude walk because running backs are a dime a dozen. He was an undrafted free agent that went through 8 teams before we even got him. And so I believe in the system more than I believe in Raheem Mostert. And so when you put that much capital into a Trey Sermon in the 3rd round, you're going to get your money's worth out of him. So, I think that Kyle appreciates dogs. And I don't think that he appreciated the holding the team up for money, which I know I didn't. It's one thing. He signed that contract and when the 49ers gave him a chance, he signed that 3-year deal. And then when he had a good playoff run, that's when he was like, oh no, I need more money now because I did good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you signed that contract, dude. It is what it is. And I'm for players getting their money, but I'm for players getting their money in the right way and not to the detriment of the team before the season starts, which I thought was pretty crappy. So
yeah, especially with how cash strapped they were. And not only that, but I would have liked to have seen him do it 2 years in a row before then saying, hey, you need to pay me more. I think that
because the minute he got that money, what happened? He was injured last year.
Yeah. Yep. It all went downhill. I just think that it's not a good look. And it probably definitely rubbed the 49ers organization the wrong way. Yeah. That's unfortunate. I only have one more for you. I'm not sure if you have any more, but the last one I have
one more. One more.
The 49ers will win the NFC West 2 of the next 4 seasons. 3, 2, 1. All right. We both held up yes. Am I right?
You are right.
You are right as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that with the way that this team does their roster structure, with their contract structure, they seem to be ahead of the game. When people are bitching about Jimmy Garoppolo's contract, it's just like they front loaded that contract. They can get out of it at any time. George Kittle's contract seems to be very front loaded, so they can get out of it at any time. They're going to sign Warner. They typically do these very team friendly deals that give them flexibility after a couple of years. So it's better to be a year early than a year late. So the 49ers front load a lot of their contracts so that way they can move on if they need to. And I just think that if they can keep this core together with Trey Lance on his rookie deal, if Trey Lance turns out to be what they drafted at number 3 and what we all think that he can be, there's no reason. You got Russell Wilson, who's going to be aging. Russell Wilson's 32, going on 33. Kyler Murray has not popped the way that you would expect him to. He improved his second year, but there's still a lot of head-scratching plays, and I don't believe in Cliff Kingsbury as a coach. I don't think he's very good. So they're going to have to replace him and kind of start over from there. And Matthew Stafford, for as good as I think he is, he's going to boost that offense, but there's question marks that I have for that Rams defense. So when you look at those things, and Stafford's 33. So when you're looking at these teams with these, somewhat aging quarterbacks, when you're looking at 2022 and beyond with 49ers, if Trey Lance pops the way we think he's going to pop, they look pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I think we both would agree that this team is in position to win if Jimmy plays well as it is. So if Jimmy plays well, they're looking like they're set up well. If not, they move to Trey Lance. You get an extremely talented and physically gifted athlete, which is something the 49ers haven't had at the position, especially during Kyle Shanahan's, tenure era with the 49ers. That brings a whole new element to the 49ers offense and the team as a whole.
Yeah. Trey Lance has the potential to be what everybody wanted Colin Kaepernick to develop into.
Yeah.
Where you have that athleticism, but Trey Lance from the jump looks like a more refined passer. So if you can get that Colin Kaepernick style running ability with the ability to beat the defense with your throws, I mean, it's the best of both worlds. It's all the 49ers can hope for. And it's one of those situations where Trey Lance, when you study the tape, has the ability to leak out and run and do those things, but he also keeps his eyes down the field and looks to throw the ball. And you always want your quarterback to be pass first with the ability to scramble rather than scramble first with some ability to pass, because in the end, a lot of these athletic quarterbacks, sometimes the throwing, the touch, that kind of stuff falls by the wayside because of their overwhelming athletic ability. And it's not their fault. When you're the best athlete on the field in high school and the best athlete on the field in college, you can get away with not being as refined as you need to be. I think that Trey Lance exhibits on tape some of the best qualities of, hey, man, he really wants to look down the field. He's really a tape studier. We've heard all the stuff about his retention, and we've seen what people are talking about when George Kittle goes on Rich Eisen and says, man, he's way advanced for a rookie quarterback. He's not like a typical rookie. And we hear all these other things where Kyle Shanahan comes out, and instead of saying like, he's not doing the Matt Nagy, there's no way that he's going to start week 1. He's like, man, if he wins it, he wins it,
Yep.
So...
Yep. This comment here from Penor. Sermon is the new superpower that Shanahan has been wanting. Inside zone running. Sermon and Lance's running abilities complete Shanahan's ability to run any way he wants now. No more wasted carries. Thoughtful comment. I like it. This, like you said in the last podcast, if Aaron Donald goes down, Rams defense will be questionable. It's questionable with Aaron Donald, if I'm not going out on a stretch by saying that.
Yeah. Well, and Aaron Donald is what, 30, 31?
Mm-hmm.
And he's played a lot of hard-nosed football over the years. We don't know. At some point or another, injuries are going to catch up to Aaron Donald as they catch up to everybody. And so if Aaron Donald goes down, that defense is in a ton of trouble. Yep. Aaron Donald is a world beater, and Aaron Donald is one of the best defensive players I've ever seen play the game. But if something happens to him, that Rams defense is in trouble. They lost a lot of pieces this offseason. And so you just wonder if they can replace that production, especially at corner, at safety. They lost their top 2 guys there. They lost Samson Ebukam to the 49ers. So you have a situational pass rusher that you're losing out on. And it seems like everybody else in the West got better. The 49ers offensive line definitely took a step up. You replace Weston Richburg, who couldn't stay healthy, with Alex Mack. You draft Aaron Banks in the 2nd round. You draft the other offensive lineman in the third or fourth round, I believe. I think he was
Jalen Moore.
Jalen Moore, I think he was a second, third round pick or the fourth round pick, but they've improved their offensive line. So now you're looking at maybe Aaron Donald isn't as effective, and now you have to rely on the back end a little more because the NFC West improved so much. Jared Goff, who looks like a deer in the headlights sometimes, gives way to Matthew Stafford, who's going to sling it out there. So if you take away Aaron Donald or something happens to Aaron Donald, you have to rely on talent that you don't necessarily know is going to be really good. So there's every indication that the Rams, and it's what I talked about when we talked about where the teams stack up. My issue with the Rams is their defense. I think they're going to take a huge step back. I think they were rated overall number 1 last season in the NFL. They're not going to be that this year.
No. Do you have any more?
I do have one more.
Okay.
I do have one more. Jimmy Garoppolo will be on the 49ers for the entirety of the 2021 season. 3, 2, 1.
Okay. First, am I right? You think yes?
No. I think no.
Okay. Again, we're both wrong. I think he will.
Okay. I think that Trey Lance is going to take the starting job very quickly and that they're going to cut Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay. Wow. Flat out cut.
Cut.
Not even wasted. Okay.
He has no trade value. They're just going to cut him, and they're going to use that money to rework a contract for Fred Warner going forward.
Oh, okay. I love it. I love it. I don't know why. I just get the feeling that Jimmy's going to start at least 8 games this year. I don't know why. That's just kind of the feeling I'm getting. Like you said, I've been wrong more often than right. So maybe he won't even be on the team come week 1. But I do think that they would like to get Trey Lance as much time as needed for him to get ready.
Yeah.
But how much time is that? Will he be ready by week 1? We've seen him putting in all the work all off season. Is it possible? Yes. I think the more likely option,
probably not, right?
No, I was going to say, I think the more likely option is that Jimmy stays on the team and starts a significant
That's more
amount.
likely, but I just don't think that Jimmy's going to stay healthy. And if he's not going to stay healthy and he has no trade value, then what's the point in keeping him? Just cut him.
There's no point.
Because once you put Lance in there, he's in there. That's it. You're ride or die. That's it.
Yeah.
So,
okay. I have one more question for you, then we'll wrap it up.
Yes. And I got one more for you.
Okay. All right. I love it. The 49ers would be better off carrying their top 2 quarterbacks as Trey Lance and Josh Rosen than Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. 3, 2, 1. Am I right?
No. If they decide to keep Jimmy Garoppolo, I think that he's the best backup quarterback in the league. Am I right?
Yes. Well, yeah, you're right.
Jimmy Garoppolo would be the best backup quarterback in the league if they decide to keep him. But I just think that they might get rid of him.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, we're going to wrap it up here, guys. Melissa, you're still on tap to join us on the show. In the meantime, because we're trying to get some people on before training camp starts, Zach, would you like to announce who is your selection for one of our fans to join us?
We're going to get Melissa. We've been in contact.
Absolutely. Melissa, you're locked in. Whenever you're able to go, we're going to go.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we do want to get people on too. So
no, she'll be on next. We've been in contact.
Perfect.
She'll be the next one.
The next person.
I haven't picked a subscriber yet. I will pick someone though.
Reach out, guys, to Zach if you really want to be on. We will have you on. Last question that I have, Zach. 49ers Hive. Best podcast for everybody to subscribe to. 3, 2, 1.
No doubt.
No doubt. Everybody,
right.
Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. We love having you here. Zach, why don't you do our advertisements, pay the bills, and then we'll get out of here.
That's right. So thank you. Huge thank you to our sponsors. Starting off with Acre Gold. They got to sponsor the Red and Gold Standard podcast. Acre Gold, you guys could purchase gold for as little as $50 a month at a time. And as soon as you reach 2.5 grams, they will send you a gold bar. They look really cool. I know I said the last show I'll have it with me. I forgot to get it with me. Next show I'll definitely have it. Go and subscribe to Acre Gold. Link is in the description below. Also, shout out to shop49ershive.com. You can get all of our latest merch. We have a really cool cartoon graphic of Trey Lance and his amazingly awesome suit on draft night. We have a Trey area merch with the Golden Gate Bridge in the background. And lastly, 81 Vino, Terrell Owens Wine. Oh, wrong way. Wine Company. Go to 81vino.com, type in code Hive, get 10% off, free shipping on 2 or more bottles. Thank you guys. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We are trying to reach 2,000 subscribers so we can give away a 49ers jersey.
By the way, one more topic. This is going to be real quick. I just thought of this, and I think we should include this in the show because it's very important. And I know we said we're going to get out of here, but guess what? Bonus topic. Everybody was roasting Trey Lance for his heart monitor that he was wearing out on the field because it looked like a sports bra. What do you make of that, man? Like, do people need to relax or what? Because for me, I'm just like, hey, it's a piece of medical equipment. Like, y'all need to relax. But there seemed to be like such a fervor about it.
Yeah, I really don't understand why people are so hung up over it. I'm going to show a picture here just so you guys, in case you missed it. I don't know how anybody could miss it. Maybe you were offline the last week, but if it's supposed to show, I think it's speed. There's like a speed tracking in it or whatever exactly it is. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
It's speed tracking. It's heart monitor. So it monitors like how high his heart rate gets and then how quickly it comes back down to baseline. It's something very similar. This is like the professional version of like a Whoop strap or whatever. And it's like not just him wearing it. Obviously, it's this thing. When he has the shirt off, it looks like a sports bra. But you know what? Y'all need to relax. It's for a purpose.
It's not a big deal. And not only that, but it really just shows how
this isn't as bad as the Dodgers hat, guys. It's not as bad as the Dodgers hat.
Definitely not. No, people are making a huge deal over it, and it's not a big deal. It really
It'd be interesting to see. This is probably what they have like when they wear the pads or whatever, and they time the players. This is probably what they wear. I just wanted to bring that up because it was current. It was relevant. Yeah. I think it's kind of silly that people are overreacting to it and be like, he's cross-dressing or he's doing this and that. So it's just like, dude, come on.
Let me ask you this and land on this. If you had a quarterback and you went over to him and said, you could probably get better. We could at least help you track if you're getting better or not. If you put on this piece of equipment that looks kind of like a sports bra, would you be more upset if they said, yes, of course, I want to learn everything about my game and how I can get better? Or if he said, no, I'm not wearing that. That looks like a sports bra.
I would be more concerned if he said no.
Exactly.
Obviously, because you want him to be the best. Yep. And this is funny. Melissa, you bring up a great point. Everybody who was like, dude, it's so dope that Zeke wears this jersey like a halter top. And now you're killing Trey Lance over a piece of medical equipment that looks like a sports bra. Like, grow up, guys. Come on now.
Yep. Exactly.
With that being said, thank you all for joining us. Zach, why don't you take us on home before I deliver our coup de grace, as it were?
So if you're interested in coming on the show, our Twitter handles are below on the screen. You can also reach out, Zach at 49ers Hive, Matt at 49ers Hive. Send us an email if you're interested. If you don't have a Twitter, you can leave a comment on this video on YouTube, and we'll get back to you guys. We're super interested in having you guys on and just interacting with our subscribers as much as we can. But with that said, thank you everybody for tuning into another episode of the Ring Gold Standard podcast. We hope all of you guys have a fantastic and safe week.
Absolutely. And if Trey Lance can wear a sports bra and Dennis Rodman can wear a wedding dress and Lady Gaga can wear a meat dress to the Oscars or the Grammys or whatever it was, and we're the most kick-ass podcast on the internet, then the world is perfectly fine and everybody's doing absolutely fantastically. We love having you with us every week. And guys, until next time, go Niners.